Hello, dear guys. How are you doing? I think that you are doing fine. I'm doing fine also. Tonight, we are going to continue our study about the death and death in a sinful world. And tonight, we are going to share about deceived by the serpent. Somebody was deceived by the serpent, and that person was Adam or Eve. They were deceived by the serpent. But before we start this study, I want you people to subscribe in this channel, Lilian channel in YouTube. And you can share it with your relatives, and you can put a comment or a like. So, dear sweetie, dear sweetheart, I want to share with you people a subject tonight, and my title tonight is deceived by the serpent. Who was deceived by the serpent? We know that in the Bible somebody was deceived by the serpent, and in Genesis chapter 3 from verse 1 to verse 7, somebody was deceived by the serpent, and that person was Eve. So, when you read Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 to 7, you have a question: what criteria did Eve use to choose between God's word and that of the serpent? Because God gave them a word in Genesis chapter 2 from verse 16 to verse 17. But the serpent gave them also their own warning, and what criteria did Eve use to choose between those two statements? So, Genesis chapter 3 is one of the clear example of the psychology of temptation. God had warned Adam and Eve that if they ate the forbidden fruit, they will certainly die. In Genesis 2 from verse 16 to 17. Assuming the form of a serpent, Satan used several rhetorical strategies to mislead Eve into sin. That are the strategies of the serpent, of the devil, Satan. First, he generalized God's specific prohibition. He asked Eve, as God really said, as God really said, you shall not eat from any tree of the garden. That is what God had told you in Genesis 3 verse 1. Eve counter-argued that the prohibition was in regards only to that specific tree. For if they were ever to eat from it or touch it, they will die. God didn't say don't touch it. God said only don't eat this fruit. That's it, that's all. If you eat this fruit, you should die. Certainly. If you eat this fruit, you should die. But the serpent come and put something in the head of the woman of Eve, and she was not sure of the warning of the Lord. But the warning of the Lord was very, very clear. Then Satan contradicted God's statement. Satan contradicted God's statement. He asserted categorically, you certainly will not die. He said it, you certainly will not die. You will not die. But are we died today? Yes. And Satan said, you certainly will not die. In Genesis 3 verse 4. And finally, Satan accused God of deliberately suppressing essential knowledge from her and her husband. The deceive argue. No, the deceiver argue. For God knows that, he said, for God knows that on the day you eat from it, the forbidden fruit, your eyes will be open. He said, if you eat that fruit, that tree, your eyes will be open. That's it. And you become like God. He said it, Satan by the serpent said it to Eve, knowing good and evil. If you eat the forbidden tree, you become like God, knowing the good and the evil. You become like God. God know it, and God know it. If you eat the fruit, you become like him. If curiously, yes, Eve's curiosity lead her onto the enchanted ground of Satan. There she was forced to deceive, either to remain faithful to God's restraining command or to embrace Satan's seductive allurements. Doubting God's word, she used her own senses, the empirical method, that of personal observation. She has her personal opinion to decide between the two conflicting statements. The statement of the Lord, you should not eat, and the statement of the serpent, if you eat, you should be like the Lord. You should know good and evil. First, she saw that from a diet from a diet from a diet from a diet perspective, the tree was good for food to eat. It was good. Second, from an aesthetic viewpoint also, she saw that it was a delight to the eyes, delight to see in the eyes. From a aesthetic viewpoint, it was a good to the eyes. Third, from a logical analysis, the tree was desirable to make one wise. She want to be wise. You also, you want to be wise. It's why you don't want to listen carefully. You don't want to pay attention to the word of the Lord tonight. Dear sweetie, dear sweetheart, you should pay attention. The tree was desirable to make one wise, to have wise. You want to be wise. Hence, in her own mind, she certainly had good reasons to heed the words of the serpent, and to eat from the forbidden tree. But unfortunately, she is what she this is what she did. This is what she did, unfortunately. She take the fruit and eat. Some people argue that all forms of knowledge are valid as long as we retain that which is good. But the tragic experiences of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden demonstrate that knowledge in and of itself can be very detrimental. There are some things that indeed we are better off not knowing. It's better for you and for me. There are the things that is better for us not to know, not knowing. Yes. What does this account teach us, this story teach us about how easy it is to rationalize and justify our sinful choices? Eve was deceived by the serpent. She listened to and she, unfortunately, she take the decision to do what the serpent told her. She refused to obey to the word of the Lord. Like today, You people and me, we refuse to obey to the warning of the Lord. It's why tonight I want you people to think twice, to think about that disobedience who brings death in our life today, in our world today. So, dear sweetheart, I want to thank all of you tonight. And please, my dear people, share this live massively, subscribe, put the like, and if you have a comment, don't be ashamed to put your comment. If you want to write to me, you can write it in the comments. Dear sweetie, dear sweetheart, thank you very much to share this live. Thank you very much to be with me tonight. And I'm going to be back here tomorrow to share another word of the Lord. May the Lord bless you all. I love you, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.